for giving me your time today to speak about the new season of The Family Business. Now, I understand you are not only the star of the show, but you are an executive producer. And is this season 5? Has it been 5 seasons? Are we 5 seasons deep now?
Yeah. We started out as a little movie actually, and with Carl Weber, who wrote this amazing series of books about this family, wanted to take it to series, and BET, bought it, and so so we've been. It's in our 5th season now, and it's gone through. It's grown. It's as we've grown, and it's pretty exciting for me.
The Family Business is known for its intricate plot twists and suspense. So, can you hint at any surprises or new developments fans can anticipate in the new season?
Yeah. I can't. Obviously, everything is, you want people to discover it as they watch it. So I can't tell you very much, except that for me, playing the role of LC was like, it was a godsend, because I don't always get a chance to play dads with fathers and having a Black family that's intact and the relationship with the wife and all that stuff. But this is a man who's fighting the world to get this American dream, to build this dynasty for his family, to be the best they can be. And so what happens, though, all these outside forces are coming at him, but what happens in season 5 is suddenly it explodes from within. And that's the last thing that Elsie expected. That's the last thing that, how do you fix that? Can you fix that? I think it's things that Elsie couldn't have imagined, which forces him to take actions that are explosive. And so the heat has been turned up on the entire family, and the disruption is, and honestly, I don't know how Carl is going to, he always surprises me. I don't know if the last season I was in a mental institution. So I'm like, so I never know where he's going to go with things, but he's amazing. And but this 5th season is, and I get a chance to do some things that, LC's never been about his physicality. And so now, as this man of a certain age, he gets a chance now to sort of, deal with stuff that I think most men at a certain point, we begin to wonder, are we still the same men we were? Are we still? So all that stuff is happening on the show.
So, how do you prepare for portraying a character like LC? I mean, are there any personal connections or inspirations for this role?
Well, I think my life is obviously very different. I never really, but I think at the heart of it, it's about family. I've always been fascinated with family because I lost my parents. When I never knew either one of my parents. So even though I had family, I had my grandmother and my aunts and uncles, but how does that family dynamic, when you have, what is that, how do you deal with that? How do we deal in this American system and still find value? So all that stuff. So for me, playing LC, it's almost like a chance to see someone living in a different universe. And if I had to make choices like that, would I make these sacrifices for my family? And if I did, what are the consequences? So if I have to go and actually kill somebody, what do I put that at? What did I can't, as an actor, I can just go and do it. So I just did it, be tough, and then move on. But truth of the matter is I can't move on because I just did this thing that affects everything. And for me, it's important that we be honest about, there are people making choices, but don't think those choices don't come with consequences. And what Carl's show is about, the consequences, living with that. Is that something you really want? Sure, you have a Rolls Royce out of it, but what happens to your spirit? What happens to your soul? What happens to your relationship? All of that stuff. And I get a chance to explore it because honestly, sometimes I don't know. I don't know where to put that. I would never have to face that in my own life, but it gives me a chance to look at it from a different perspective, because I think a lot of things are going on that people aren't taking consideration, that you have to live with that. You have to pay a price for that, what you do to people. And so For me, that's interesting. It's LC is a multi-layered character, and I have to give credit to Carl Weber. You know, we talk about black people working together and all that. Carl, I've been in this business for almost 60 years. Carl gave me this role, said, I want you for this character. You're the only person I can see doing this. He gave me this opportunity to portray this man in this family dynamic. And that's a blessing. And he Tridescent is the production company. Indy Brown and Trey Haley, they sort of run it, run the show. It's an amazing opportunity to work together with them. But for me as an actor, and I've done, I've been doing it a long time, but this is an opportunity that I haven't been given. And I'm so glad that this opportunity came from a Black producer and director and writer. And an opportunity to show our community from a different perspective, because we've seen movies like Godfather and Goodfellas and dealing with other cultures, but for us to be a Black family who are not only wealthy but own their wealth, you know what I mean? And they're not, if it was just evil people, but I think they're, certainly with LC, we're just trying to have a good life, and if this is what I need to do that, then we got to do what we got to do. Me personally, I wouldn't make those choices, but I understand some people do.
When you think about how your character LC has evolved since the beginning of the series, what challenges or growth can viewers expect to see from him in this new season?
Yeah, I think LC, it started off in the very first show. I think it was LC announcing his retirement. He and Chippy had planned, okay, we're going to turn it over to the kids. We're going to move to Florida. We're going to just, live the rest of our lives. But things, there's so much going on. He can't do that. And he hasn't been able to do it so far. But he relies a lot on the family to, take on the mantle and do the things that needs to be done. I think in this fifth season, LC is realizing that, now I got to do this myself. I'm the only one who can do this and do it the way it's supposed to be done. And so he steps up in a way that he was hoping he would never have to do. Some of the stuff is what I did early on to build this thing, and I thought we were past that. But no, we're threatened now in a way that we've never been. So LC is like, no, this is, I got to do this. The kids are great. You raise them well, you train them well, but this is, I got to do this. And Chippy's always been the one who, I love our relationship. I love the fact that, it's a loving husband and wife, and she's got my back 100%. But LC is a lot of times, he's a little bit, I think, more reasonable. And Chippy's like, no, she's like hardcore sometimes. I'm like, I have to sort of pull her back. But I think now LC is like, no, this is not what I would choose to do, but I just gotta take care of business.
So is it safe to say that his moral compass is tested this season?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I think I think he's always had a moral compass, but I think, you think I can work within that. But sometimes you gotta, you just gotta do what's gotta be done. And I gotta make sense. Whatever the consequences, I'm gonna have to live with, but some things have to be done. I'm not doing because I want to do it, but yeah, it's some things just you feel it has to be done, and you don't know any other way to do it. And I'm not willing to sacrifice everything I work for to just make peace. With me, sometimes if someone wants something so badly, I'm like, you know what, dude, just take it. It's okay. I'm good. LC's not, no, you're not taking it. It's like, no. So that's the difference between me and LC. I'll make peace. I'm trying to look for, the love, the harmony.
A quick resolution.
Yeah. And also, I just, because I want to, we're all in this thing together, and I recognize your humanity, your Christness, and I've recognized some things I don't understand. So I'll defer sometimes to what you think is right, even though it doesn't make sense to me. But LC is not that guy. He's not. He's no, no. It's we worked hard for this, and we're not giving up any ground.
Right on.
Yeah. So um, I'm. Yeah. I mean, we just have two very very different perspectives. But I can understand. I think I can to some extent. Um, Someone who sort of sees the world from that perspective. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So.
So, are there any new characters or alliances introduced in the upcoming season that will impact Elsie's journey and the overall storyline?
Yeah, there's new alliances, and there's sort of a remix of the old alliances, things that I think LC's always felt was in place. We've negotiated. We have an alliance in place that begins to fall apart. Also, there's some elements out there, especially there's always been an operation, you know, law enforcement in the South and the hillbillies and a whole bunch of that we just avoided because we didn't need that. But there comes a point when you begin to expand. Then you start looking at the world from a different perspective. LC is looking at the world now from, and I think taking over Cora Enterprises, who had more of an international scope. Suddenly, you begin to say, okay, no, it's not enough to just try to hold on to this. Either you're growing or you're dying. So we need to reconfigure. Um, and also in the last season, we had a lot of deaths um, that sort of happened, and we've been weakened to a certain point. So how do we, reconfigure and build stronger, build back stronger? How do we do that? Because our survival is at stake here.
Will viewers, longtime fans, be surprised by the family's journey this season? In other words, when we see where they are at the top of the season compared to where they end up when the season wraps, what do you think is going to most surprise us? Again, without spoiling anything, what do you think we're going to be most surprised by in terms of Elsie's relationship with the family and how it evolves over the course of this season?
Yeah, I think Elsie's relationship. I think Elsie's is a sort of I don't want to say a come to Jesus moment, but one of those moments where you just have to come to understand. And also, Chippy. There's some things, there's some history, there's some secrets that's been covered up for a long time. We saw in the end of season 4. There's some stuff coming out that they thought we had put behind us, and nothing's been put behind. It's been laying there waiting, and it's going to force them to just have to reassess, everything. It's going to force them to have to, the family dynamics. I want to protect my family. What exactly is that family? And because you feel that way, don't mean everybody in the family feels that way. And, there's betrayal, which is always heartbreaking, but there's some extreme betrayals. And, yeah, it's going to call for everything that Elsie and Chippy can sort of pull together. And I don't know. I don't know moving forward how that will affect everything, but it will affect everything. And as a result of all that stuff that you did building up to get to where you are, that you thought you got away with, you didn't have to pay a price in court, but you're going to pay a price in life. You ain't got away with nothing.
Yeah, that karma always comes back to bite you.
Comes back. It comes back, yeah.
Yeah, my last question for you today, sir. What do you hope audiences take away from the Family Business season 5 after watching it?
Yeah, I just hope we deal with a lot of issues that I think people are dealing with. I always feel that we represent a family, as being part of the African American community, so many things are said about us by others and even by ourselves. Being a family intact, being a family that loves and cares for each other. Um, but also not just a crime family that does awful things, but not doing awful things with the intention of doing awful things, but doing awful things with the intention of securing, my legacy, the generational wealth I want for my children, what everybody should want. We're in a country that is uncompromising, that has not opened itself up to us. And so the only reason that we're not just dealing with our legitimate enterprises is I can't play that game in America straight up, or at least LC sees it that way. And so I got to do what I got to do to get what I need to, the system isn't set up for me to be in the position that I'm in. So I hope what people realize is that, yeah, you can make those choices, but you're going to have to pay a consequence. So hopefully people will see themselves in us, in the family, in our children, and that we are a very powerful people, in spite of our struggles, in spite of the stuff that even we cause. But at the end of the day, we're powerful, we're loving, we're determined, and we don't back down.
Amen to that. Well, Mr. Hudson, that's my time for you, sir. I appreciate you speaking with me once again. It's always a pleasure to speak with you about your projects. And I want to say congratulations. Like you've said, 60 years. I mean, I've followed your career for decades, it seems. So congratulations on your longevity in this career and still going strong and still working hard and still serving up hits for us and all your fans. So thank you. I'm looking forward to sharing this conversation with my readers. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So great to talk to you. I appreciate you taking the time. It means a lot.
Absolutely, sir. You have a great rest of your day.
I will. You too.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.